Hi, good evening. Welcome to SBL's Practice to Pass session for December 2020 attempt. My name is Hassan Dosani and I will be your SBL tutor for the next 5 days. I hope you guys are keeping well and safe and are as excited as I am in attending tonight's session. Since today is our first class, I would like to wait few minutes for more students to join in who are not familiar with this software, and let's give them some benefit of doubt, and after 2 or 3 minutes I will formally start. So please bear with me and we will start in couple of minutes. In the meanwhile, can some of you confirm to me that you are able to see my screen very clearly? You can type yes in the question box or in the chat option. If you can see my screen, type yes in the question preferably or in the chat box. Okay, excellent, excellent. Yes, good day. Very nice, very nice. Okay, now can you see the list of questions on your screen? Like all these students are asking questions. I'm able to see all the questions. Can you see the question screen? Okay. All right, I got it. So what I'll do is when I'm answering a question, I will first read the question so that you understand the question, the background, and then I will answer. All right, cool. Let's wait for 1 more minute for our other colleagues to join in and we are good to start. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we should start now. Okay, so again, a very warm welcome to all of you in tonight's session. We will be having straight 5 days of classes. Today is day 1. So as usual, our strategy would be to spend less time on theory and more time on practice and exam techniques. So roughly we will be spending like 35% of our time on topics and lectures and 65% of our time talking about exam techniques, talking about professional skills, and more importantly, practicing some questions. So the approach would be, we will do a few topics and then we will practice the question related to that topic. Again, couple of more topics and a question. All right. Now, this is something very important. So if you know, this is my third webinar. The last one which I was conducted was in September 2020. Okay. So now, you know, the first one was conducted in March, and then the second one was conducted in September, and this one is the third webinar. So I received a lot of feedbacks from students from the second webinar that instead of repeating topics, I should go for new topics. All right. So I thought that it was an excellent suggestion, and there's no point in repeating topics webinar after webinar after webinar. So you know, September webinar, it included several important topics like SFA and PESTEL and social footprints and integrated reporting. So all the, not all the, but in my opinion, some of the most important topics were covered in September 2020. So this time around, I decided that instead of repeating those topics, I should focus more on some new topics, because the videos of September webinar is available on YouTube and Vimeo, and also I can provide to you. So you can always watch September topics under September webinar, and December we will be able to cover extra topics. So in this way, you guys will be able to cover maximum topics between September webinar and December webinar. So which means that it is mandatory to watch September webinar so that you can cover maximum topics. So please bear in mind that you can imagine that December webinar is part 2. So you need to watch season 1 and then you come to season 2, because the most of the important pet topics were covered in September. So please, if you don't watch September, you will be in a great deficit. Okay. So I need your gentlemen promise that you will watch September webinar once we complete the December. So the sequence doesn't matter. We will first focus on December webinar. Once after 5 days the December webinar is over, you need to spend extra 15 hours on September webinar, and I can promise you that your preparation, your course coverage will be double the size, right? Okay. The second thing I want to mention is about manual paper versus CBE paper. So half the world is still giving manual paper, and half the world is giving CBE paper, right? So so this time around, ACCA Pakistan office has requested me to cover adopting a manual paper approach. So December webinar is based on manual paper approach. But worry not, the September webinar was based on CBE approach. So so those of you who are giving a CBE paper, when you watch September, you will see how to handle a CBE paper. And those of you who are watching December, you should focus on how to handle the manual paper. So if you watch both September and December, you will get best of both the worlds. Okay. Excuse me. You know, I have a very bad throat and a very bad flu, so I might be taking, you know, coughing breaks. My apologies for that. So are we very clear on this slide? This is the scope, this is the game plan, that you need to watch both September webinar and December webinar, and then you can focus on your respective techniques of CBE or manual paper as the case may be. Let me see some questions if there are any. Okay, so the way you can ask question is, actually I want you to ask as many questions as possible, because that will help me to address your confusion. So the way you can ask question is, you will see a questions option where you will need to type your questions. Okay. And after every one slide or two slide, I will pause and I will quickly go through the questions and I will try to answer the questions. However, it is my humble request that you restrict your questions to the topic under discussion. So right now, if you, whatever slide you see on this screen, I would really appreciate if you ask questions relating to this slide. So if I'm talking about, let's say pestle, then you ask questions about pestle. So you need to restrict your questions to the topic under discussion. The reason is, if you ask something beyond that, if you ask, sir, what is evaluation skill, I'm not gonna stop in the middle of pestle to explain evaluation skills. Yeah, it's very logical, right? So if you have other questions which is not under discussion at the moment, you just hold it, and towards the end I would try to give 5, 10, 15 minutes extra to take whatever questions you may have. But for the time being, I don't want my question box to be flooded like a tsunami with irrelevant questions. Okay, right, so moving on. Okay, a very quick introduction of myself. I am a chartered accountant, fellow chartered accountant from 1999. It's been over 20 years I'm qualified. I did my CA from PricewaterhouseCoopers, Pakistan. Then I did several degrees like CMA, CISA, CIA, something in marketing, something in HR. And I've been working since then. Currently, I am the CFO of insurance brokerage house in Dubai, and I sit on the board of directors for the last 10 years. This was on my professional side, and as far as my teaching experience is concerned, again, I've been teaching for last 2 decades, and I just specialize in SBL. I offer physical classes in Karachi, Pakistan, and I offer online classes for all international students. Okay, now this is the most famous thing. So I basically have a WhatsApp group dedicated for SBL students globally. Okay, so right now I have more than 500 SBL students across the globe in my WhatsApp group, and it's like a family. And whoever has questions, you ask questions there, and other fellow students will share their experience, will try to help you out. I will step in if required. So it's a very, very good thing. So those of you who are not part of my WhatsApp group, please can you note this WhatsApp number? This is my personal WhatsApp number, and kindly send a message to me on my WhatsApp, and I will send you the link to the group. Okay, you can do it after the class. You can take a snapshot of this number, but do remember to send me a message, and I would be honored to add you to my global SBL group. All right, regarding some SBL pass rate, I can see some improvements. It was like 46% in December 19, and then it went 47. It was still 47 in June, and in the last attempt, it jumped up to 49. So you can see the graph going up. I hope it continues to go up. September 20 attempt was a little bit of a disaster because of some technical issues with CBE, and probably that's why the passing ratio was improved, but that's my guess. I have no idea, but I do hope and pray that the passing ratio at least maintains at 49% or improves, so that all of you, most of you, if not all of you, can get rid of this paper. So SBL is very, very different. And please note this word. It says different. It doesn't say difficult. It says different. Okay. It is easy, but it is different. And when I say it's different, why do I say that? Because it is one integrated case study. So integrated means that it will be a big fat case study, and all the questions will come out from that one case study. So if you understand that particular scenario, you will be able to handle the questions. If you don't understand the scenario, you will screw up all the questions, because it is an integrated case study. It's normally like 10 to 12 pages long. There will be an introduction followed by a list of requirements, and there will be 6 exhibits. Okay, this is a very standard format, attempt after attempt. So those of you who have given SBL before, they are familiar with the format. But those of you who will be appearing for the first time, I thought it would be interesting to show you an actual paper of how the paper looks. So you see, this is this SBL, and this is actually to March June 2019 paper. When you go down, you will see it's 4 hours. Okay, 4 hours. It includes the reading time, the writing time. It's all inclusive. Okay, and always SBL paper will start from a background or an introduction about the company. Okay, so it will, for example, this question was about a company called Smartwear. It says it's a long established clothing retailer in Noria, a highly da 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 da. So it's gonna give you the background of the organization. Generally it's a half page long, and then you will see a list of exhibit. You see there's an exhibit 1, there'll be exhibit 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There are 6 exhibits. You can say there are 6 annexures. And this exhibit 1, you can see, is basically a briefing notes, and then some transcript of some board meeting, and a newspaper article, and some macroeconomic data of 3 countries, an executive summary of internal audit report, and CDMS financial. So the exhibits can come from anywhere. Okay, and then after this introduction, you will see the requirements. So question number 1. Sorry guys, I'm just struggling with my throat. Question number 1, there'll be 1A and there's 1B, followed by question number 2, 2A, 2B, followed by question number 3. It doesn't have A or B, it's just question number 3, followed by question number 4, 4A and B, Question number 5, A and B. Okay. After the questions, now you will start seeing the exhibits. They will come in one by one. So exhibit 1, like this, looks fancy to me. Exhibit 2 is a transcript of a board meeting. Exhibit 3 is an article from some Herald magazine. Exhibit 4 is some comparative macroeconomic data. Exhibit 5 is an executive summary of internal audit report, and exhibit 6 is some numbers, financial investment appraisal. Thank God, finally it ended. So like 11 pages, huh? So this is the paper. It's the longest paper, 4 hours. None of any of the other ACCA papers is 4 hours. Because this one is 4 hours, it becomes a real challenge. It requires physical stamina. It requires mental stamina, because you have never practiced anything more than 3 hours or 3 hour 15 minutes. So you know this, we need to build up stamina. And then there is 20 marks for professional skills. So the paper is 100 marks, out of which the 20% of the paper belongs to professional skills. So that's a lot of mark. So you know, professional skills, I call them cash marks. Okay. If you know the technique, you can score pretty good in professional skills. And in the last class, day 5, I will explain to you all about professional skills and how to maximize or grab your cash marks. And then there is less emphasis on models, unlike other papers. And there are so many formats required. This paper is full of formats. You must know how to prepare reports or briefing notes or memos and presentation slides. You must be able to draft press release, write emails, make letters, make project initiation documents. There's business case, all those formats you must be familiar, and it's my job to teach you all these formats. So all in all, because of these new things, SBL is very different, but not difficult. Okay. And if the different paper needs a different approach altogether. So you've been used to a particular approach so far, but in order to pass SBL, you need to change your strategy. SBL is a paper of boardroom. Okay. The objective of SBL, the way ACCA has designed SBL, is to train accountants how to handle matters in the boardroom. That is why it's called strategic business leaders. So the business leaders, they sit in the boardroom, right? And sooner than later, all of you will become a business leader. All of you will rise through the ranks and will become finance directors or CFOs or some governance position. So this paper is kind of preparing you to adopt a mindset of a CFO. Okay, so whenever we read a case study, just think that you are the CFO or you are the finance director of that company. Think like you are the owner. It is your baby. And automatically you will be surprised that your brain will start working. You will start thinking out of the box when you start imagining that you are the CFO. Okay, you will look for solutions And this is what SBL is all about. Imagine that you are sharing your views with the board of directors. So when you are drafting your answers, when you are making a report, when you are making a presentation slide, just think that it is not the examiner to whom you are writing your answer as a student. Forget the star examiner. Think that you are a CFO and you are drafting or writing that report for the board of directors, and I swear you will feel the confidence, the adrenaline in you. Okay, so please approach SBL in a very different and non-complicated way. Just think it's your business and you are the CFOs. Hey, you know what? I think I should start calling you CFOs. I should call you CFOs for the next 5 days, so it automatically sinks into you, right? Right, CFOs? Ready? Good. Okay, I'll take a pause and quickly go through the questions. Okay, very nice. I'm very glad that nobody is asking irrelevant questions. Please, stick with that. Excellent. So now, so far so good. Now the top 3 mistakes made by the students as per the examiner report. This is as per the examiner. Top 3 mistakes. Number 1, our friend examiner always says that the answers are not linked with the exhibits. Please remember that if you don't link your answers with the exhibits, you will get 0. All the answers are hidden in the exhibits. There is no room for definitions, no marks for general answers, no marks for answers which are not linked or using information from the exhibits. So you live, eat and breathe through the exhibits. Okay, so there is a particular technique of how to link or how to extract your answers from the exhibits, and I will teach you that technique tonight after a few minutes. The second problem our friend examiner has is that he says that insufficient number of points as per the marks allocation. So, you can't blame him if it's a 20 marks question and you write 3 points, he's not going to pass you. So there is a particular number of points you need to mention, okay, depending on the marks. So I will teach you the right quantity and the right size of the points, okay. This I will cover tomorrow. And then you must be familiar with this: poor time management. Most students are not able to complete the paper, and even those students who are able to complete the paper, the quality of the last question is really poor because you're trying to wrap up. Even you can't read your handwriting yourself on the last page, right? It looks like it's a prescription by a doctor. So time management is very critical. If you want to pass SBL, you need to attempt. You got to attempt for 100 marks complete paper. If you attempt 80 marks, there is no way you will score 55. Okay, so these are the top 3 weaknesses which I will teach you all the techniques, and you need to practice them and come on top of them. Okay, now have a look at some of these comments which the examiner mentions in every attempt. He says that not answering complete requirements. So he feels that the students are not answering the complete requirements. So if the question asks you what are the role and benefits of integrated reporting, So the people talk about either the role and forget about the benefits, or they talk about benefits and forget the role. So if the question says what are the role and benefit of integrated reporting, then you need to very clearly say these are the role and these are the benefits. Of course, so you need to, this I cannot fix for you. This is something which I call a silly mistake or a casual attitude. So guys, no room for these kind of casual mistakes. Then he says not paying attention to the format required. Oh my God. The examiner is saying that students are not paying attention to the formats required. So if he has asked presentation slides, then he expects to see a presentation slides. If he asks for a briefing note, he expects to see a briefing note. Why the hell students don't produce the formats required? I am unable to understand, and I am sure even you guys are unable to understand how these kind of mistakes creeps in. I hope you guys don't do these mistakes. And then he says students, they give long paragraphs with multiple points squeezed into one paragraph. This is not how the board likes to read. The board likes to read small paragraphs, one paragraph for each point. And then he feels that the students, they use models unnecessarily. In SBL, it is not mandatory to use any model. I would like to repeat it. In SBL, it is not mandatory to use any model. It would be nice if you can use, but it's not mandatory. So in case you didn't use a model and you gave a direct answer, a logically well drafted but a direct answer without using a model, you will get equal marks. Okay, so just imagine, just go back here. Do you think that the board of directors are interested in models? Do you think that the CFO is expected to talk about fancy models? Or do you think they want to see a model? No, right? So it all goes back to this slide. If you give a logically correct answer without using a model, you will get marks. So do not get stuck in models. Having said that, I will teach you at least few models because models are structured. They help you frame your answers, but do not panic. Okay, do not waste time on models and models and models. Okay, and lastly, as per the examiner, when he wants a recommendation, students gives recommendations, but they don't give justifications. They recommend that okay, we should go with option A, but they don't say why they are saying option A. So whenever you are expected to give a recommendation, you must also give a small justification on why you are suggesting what you are suggesting. Okay, so my friends, this slide is silly mistakes. This slide shows mistakes either when these are mistakes which you will do either if you are casual or you are panicking under exam conditions, or you don't want to pass. Correct? So please, don't fall for this trap. Do not do these mistakes, otherwise the examiner will never be able to pass you. I said never be able to pass you, because you're not giving him the right reasons to pass you, right? Okay, now this is the $1,000,000 question. I get a lot of these questions, especially during this time, that sir, I have been busy with my office, I have been busy with this and that, and now is it sufficient time to give SBL? Can I prepare? How shall I prepare? Does this slide apply to you? Give me a yes or a no. Do you want to know the study plan in the last 4 weeks because you're working or whatever? Correct. Very good. Absolutely. Yeah. Right. So, how will you study? So, those of you who are working students or you have not studied before, or it is your resit attempt, whatever your background or situation may be, the fact remains the same. The fact is that you have approximately 4 weeks between now and the exam. All of you have now 4 weeks, and we must be, mentally prepared that it's not humanly possible to cover entire thing in as much detail as we want. So now we need to adopt a smart approach. So the first thing, you must focus on 10 models and 15 topics. Top 10 models and top 15 topics, and leave the rest on chance. Okay. I will provide you the list of top 10 models and top 15 topics which you need to go through for December attempt. Okay, leave that with me. I will provide you the list in few minutes. After you've watched this 25 topics in total, the next step is you must watch the September 2020 webinar because it covers some of the most important topics of SBL. After that, you must watch the December 2020 webinar because it covers the season 2 of the missing important topics, right? So once you have covered the 25 topics and have watched both the webinars, now you are in a position to do some case study practices. So you can practice 5 to 7 case studies from P1 and P3, and I can give you a list of suggested case studies, but this one if you have time. If you don't have time, then you need to skip this and directly go here. Okay, you need to practice 3 to 5 SBL questions in writing with time management. This one is a must. So it says in writing and with proper time management. Why in writing? Because it's a 4-hour paper and you need to build up your mental and physical stamina, and the only way to build up your stamina is to run the marathon physically. Okay, after you've done 3 to 5 SBL questions, then you will do 2 mocks, proper mocks under strict exam condition, but more importantly, it has to be checked. It has to be checked. There is no point in doing a proper mock and no tutor is checking your mocks. If there's no feedback, then how would you know where you are lacking? So this is basically the study plan for between now and the exam. Do I have any questions? Do I have any questions? You guys are okay? I'm wondering whether this question box is working because it's kind of freezed or stuck. Can you guys hear me? I want a yes or a no. Okay, excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Got it. Now, please have a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Stay away from books and revision kits. Okay. And the simple reason is there are two reasons. Number one is you don't have the time to take a dive into the books at this last hour. So what do you do then? Okay. What do you do then? Instead of book, you must use simplified notes. And I can provide you with the simplified notes. It's available on my WhatsApp group. So instead of hunting for books, please go through my simplified notes and focus on the 25 topics only. And then instead of revision kits, I've seen all the revision kits, Kaplan, BPP, and I am sorry to say that I was not impressed by the quality of the answers. They were far from the actual kind of papers, and the solutions were very confusing. So I would rather prefer that you practice the actual past paper questions from P1, P3 and SBL and look at the examiner's answers rather than KIT's answers. Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you need to focus on 10 models and 15 topics. So this is the list of top 10 models which I think is important for December. And this is a list of 15 topics other than the models, which I think is important for December. And outside this, we need to practice professional marks and exam techniques. Okay. Now, again, the same slide, but now if you see, I have mentioned I've mentioned that which topics have been covered in September webinar. So for example, the first model, Pestel Porter 5 Strategic, it has been covered in September on day 2. Just for your facilitation, I've also mentioned the day. And then SFA framework has covered in detail in September webinar on day 1. And cultural web was covered in March of 20. It was like the previous day 3 in case you want to go through it. Financial ratios and projections was covered in September. Budgets MIS was covered in September. Project management was covered. This was covered, NEDs and board of directors, integrated reporting, social footprint, risk management, control weaknesses. So I would say 10 to 12 topics were covered in September. So in December, I would like to cover SWOT and TOS. I would like to cover corporate parenting and BCG. I would like to cover Mendelow's stakeholders matrix. I would like to cover context of change model. I would like to cover risk mitigation steps. I would like to cover funding strategies in December. a background on e-business, e-marketing, IT, cyber risks and security, something about big data and CRM, and last but not the least, audit committee and internal audit. So the green ones are basically those topics which we will be covering in December webinar, and the yellow ones are the topics which were covered in September webinar. Okay, and of course I would also cover professional marks and exam techniques. This was also covered in the previous webinar. Right, so that's the list of how I have allocated, and the whole objective was to give you the maximum coverage. There is no point in repeating topics. You can easily go and watch September. So I just thought of adding more and more topics so that your horizon can expand. I hope you guys are okay with this. Right, so today's plan. Today I will teach you how to link answers with exhibit. So you remember, mistake number one, the students, they don't link the answers. So today I will teach you how to link your answers, and I will give you technique for both manual students, and also I will teach you for CBE paper. Okay, this one is so important that I want to cover this under both manual and CBE. And after that, today's topic is SWOT and TOES metrics. We will be doing a question from P3. The reason why I had to pick P3 was that, in SBL, they don't publish the paper every attempt. So far, they have not asked this topic. They have not examined this topic in SBL, but I think it's high time that something might pop up. So because it's never been examined in SBL, I had to use P3. It doesn't really matter. It's the approach which is important. Okay. Right. So are you guys ready for the first exam technique? How to link answer with the exhibit. Take a look at this slide for 30 seconds. I want you to interpret and digest yourself first before I explain. 30 seconds. The CBE students should look on the left-hand side instructions, and the manual paper students should look on the right-hand side instructions. Okay. Ten more seconds. All right, guys. Just give me a second. I'm trying to fix something. All right, so I'm just sending the WhatsApp group link to our administrator, and he will try to share the WhatsApp link to the group. somehow on the webinar so that you guys can join in, huh? Good. Right. So the first step is you have to make a list of requirements. You have to make a list of requirements, and it doesn't have to be a very detailed list. It has to be a very basic list, and I will just show you in a minute. But the reason why we need a list of requirement is that if you see the requirements, if you see the paper, you see the paper, I'll just open the SBL paper, and you will see that the requirements are scattered. They span over 2 and 3 pages. So this is first page of requirements, 1A, 1B, and then there is 2A and 2B, and some story again, little bit of story here, and then there is 3, and then again a little bit of story, and then there is 4A, 4B, again next page, you see there's a story here, and then 5A, 5B. So you know the requirements are not all on the same page. They are scattered over 3 pages. So, and there are so many requirements that you can't remember. You can't memorize what topics or what questions are being asked, right? So that's why if we make a quick small list of requirements, we can keep it in front of us while we are reading. Okay, because when we are reading the case study, we are supposed to highlight and do some marking. So unless and until we remember what we are looking for, we will not be able to do the markings, right? So we need to know or remember what's required, and that's why this is how the list will help. So the step number 1 is we make a list of requirement. Now the manual paper, people who are giving manual paper, where will you make this list of requirement? On the last page. On the last page of your answer sheet. Very important. Do not do it on the first page on the answer sheet. Turn your answer sheet on the last page. You write planning work, please ignore. And then you make a list on the last page of your answer sheet. And why do I say answer sheet? So that when you are reading the question paper, reading the case, you can keep the answer sheet right besides your question paper, and you can refer to your answer sheet to see what requirements are you actually looking for. Okay, the CBE paper people, you will need to copy paste the requirements on your online word processor. Okay, for CBE students, you are not supposed to, or you're not allowed to have any kind of paper or pen on your table, so you're not able to write it. Your paper is on the screen, your answer sheet is on the screen. You just select the requirement and you copy paste on your answer sheet. So once you have made the list, and what you can make a very simple list. For example, supposing this is my question, supposing this is my last page of my answer sheet. Okay, this is my last page. So I would do like, I would go, where is it? Okay, so for example, this question number 1A, what does it say? Analyze the environment in which smartware operates and consider how it might impact the business. This one. What does it want? Analyze the environment, 10 marks. You will say question 1A, analyze environment. How many marks? Now listen, look very carefully. 10 marks. Is there any professional marks for this one? No, for this part there is no, there is a professional marks, but it's for this one. So 10 marks. So you just write. And then you will say question 1B. And what is it? This one. Assess the major risks presented by smartware's current business model and suggest appropriate mitigation actions to manage these risks. So major risks, you just write how many marks? 10 technical, and there is this 4 marks which is professional skills. Okay, 10 plus 4. And then I move to question number 2. 2A says analyze company's strategic position in Southland market to determine why smartware appears to be performing so well in this particular country. Analyze company's strategic position. Very simple. Question 2A, strategic position. How much marks? 8 plus 2 professional, 10 marks. I will just do one more. Sorry, this one is A and this one is B. Yeah, I will do one more. Evaluate the strategic and ethical implications to smartware of the planned shop closures and withdrawal from Centrum. Ah, look at this, look at this. Analyze the strategic and ethical implications. Look at this word, and you see, very quietly, very smartly, the examiner has asked you 2 questions. Evaluate the strategic and ethical implications. So you need to talk about strategic implications and followed by ethical implications. This is where the examiner says, remember the most common comment that he says that the students do not address all the requirements. So this is strategic and ethical implications. Evaluate strategic and implications. 12 plus 2. You will say evaluate strategic and ethical implication. 12 plus 2 is 14 marks. So it will take you, I would say, 5 minutes to prepare this simple list. It doesn't have to be fancy. It is your rough work. But what it will do is it will keep reminding you what topics are being asked, so that when you are reading the case study, you keep this right besides your answer sheet. And you can refer to these so that you can do your marking and referencing. Do you understand the list? Now, once you have made the list, step number 2 is you will read 1 or 2 paragraphs, preferably 2 paragraphs. You will highlight relevant sentences, facts and figures wherever you feel that this particular sentence looks important, or you can use it somewhere in your answer, you highlight it. But highlighting is not sufficient. Step number 4 is critical. Very, very critical step. Step number 4. This is what I called referencing. So highlighting is not sufficient. After you have highlighted, you need to do referencing. And when I say referencing, it means that you need to write the question number against that paragraph. You can either write the question number, or you can write environment, or you can write risk, or you can write question 1B, whatever language you understand. But the point is that you need to do referencing, so that once you start drafting and compiling your answer, you don't need to look and search. If you have done your proper referencing, you will be able to easily search all the paragraphs where you have mentioned risks or question number 1B, and you just compile them together. Okay, referencing is very important. For manual paper, you can use a highlighter. You have to use a highlighter. Do not underline. Please carry 2 or 3 highlighters with you. You are absolutely allowed to use highlighters in your exam, and this I'm very confirmed about this. And once you have highlighted, you can write your referencing on the side. Yeah. And for students who are giving computer-based CBE paper, of course you can't write on the screen, on the computer screen. So the technique there is basically you copy paste the relevant sentence, you copy it, you basically copy it, and Control-C, Control-V, you copy it and you paste it on the answer sheet under the respective question. So for CBE students, if you are not very clear, please you watch the September webinar, because in September I have actually used the CBE software and I've done this practically and shown it how it's got to be done. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this slide is very, very important, how to link your answers, and the main game is referencing. It will take extra 5-10 minutes because you will make the list of requirements and then you are writing your stuff and referencing. But this extra investment of 10 minutes will save a lot of your time during drafting. And you can see it once you start applying it. Yeah. So now I pause and I'm looking for questions. Yes, very good question, Misbah. Misbah is saying at one point examiner says linking with exhibits is important, and in other comment he says don't copy from the exhibits. Excellent question. Just give me a second, I need to clear my throat. Right. So Misbah, thank you for asking such a relevant question. She's saying that on one hand the examiner wants us to link with the case, and then on other hand he says please don't copy paste. Very good. Listen, when we say link with the case, that means that we have to use the facts and figures and problems mentioned in the scenario, right? So we will have to copy paste. So the sentences, the facts and figures, because the facts figures will never change. So you have no choice but to copy paste it. However, after you have copy pasted, you need to add some of your thoughts as well. This paper is not about copy pasting, it's about you talking to the board of directors. So when you copy paste some fact, like for example, pestle, you copy pasted that the government has given grants and the government is giving subsidies and the government is encouraging the industry. All you have copy pasted all this information. But then you have to also mention that the above point shows that the political environment is quite favorable. So this is your thoughts, your input. So copy paste, but please give a little bit of your input, your thought, maybe in the start, and then you copy paste, or first you copy paste and then you add your thoughts. Okay, am I clear, Misbah? Are we allowed to write on the question paper, Asad? Yes, absolutely. You can write on the question paper. You can highlight on the question paper. Mohammad Sufyan, are there gonna be any mocks at the end of this session? So this practice to pass session, there will be no mocks because we don't have time. I will have my private mock sessions. You can register for it if you want. That's optional. Mohammad Ali Allahwala, are the topics in green important for December? No, Ali. That all the topics mentioned on that sheet are important. The highlighted one in green I am gonna cover in December, and the ones in yellow have been covered in September. Both September and December topics, the yellows as well as the greens, are equally important. Okay. Ikra is saying, are these both webinars enough for preparation of SBL? Ikra, can I ask you what other choice you have? If you are smart, if you adopt a smart approach rather than hard approach, you will definitely pass. Because many students who take P2P, they pass without taking any professional classes. The UK place winner, no, not the UK, the Pakistan place winner for September, this student, he scored like 83 or 86%, and he just took my webinar. Okay. I'm just skipping questions which are outside the topic which we are discussing. Okay, please, people who have joined a bit later, do restrict your questions to the slide or the topic we are discussing. Do not ask questions outside the slide, because I will not break the tempo. I will take your questions later on. So right now I'm skipping it. Okay, so hold your questions. Sharik is saying, and after making list, should we not look at the whole requirement again? Very good, Sharik. So Sharik is asking that once we make a list of requirements, do we need to look at the requirements again? Absolutely yes. This initial list is just to help you in the reading phase and to help you in referencing. When you are about to actually write the answer, you need to read the question very carefully, look at the professional marks, plan your answer, and then start. Okay, very good, excellent, thank you so much. All right, so let's move on. So now if you look at the list of important topics, SFA framework, financial projections, evaluation skill, and report format. These 4 topics were covered in September's webinar on day 1. So exactly today, but in September, the first day, these 4 topics were covered. So please, you go back to September day 1 and you will see the videos of these four important topics. This is just for your facilitation. Right, so now we've reached today's topic, which is SWOT. And let me look at the time. It's 8:40 here in Dubai. 8:40. We started at 7:30. So it's slightly over an hour. So let's take a break for 10 minutes. Do you guys want a break for 10 minutes? Or hang on. Let me do SWOT and explain those, and then we take a break. And after the break, we start with the question. How's that? Because I want to give a break right in the center. So 7:38, we've got like 5-7 minutes. Okay. So SWOT analysis, I'm pretty sure that most of you are familiar with SWOT analysis. Okay. So I'll just I'll just remind you or give you a quick refresher. Strength is supposed to be good and weakness is supposed to be bad. In fact, let me use some color. So strength is supposed to be good, it's green, and weakness is supposed to be bad, so I make it red. Again, opportunity is supposed to be good, so it's green, and threat is supposed to be bad, so I make it red. So there are 2 greens and 2 reds. So the thing is, strength and weakness, these 2 are used for internal purposes, like anything to do internally with internal to the company. If it's good, we'll call it strength. If it's bad, we'll call it weakness. And the other 2, opportunities and threats, these are used for external factors. So anything which is outside the organization, anything which is outside or beyond the control of the organization, if it's good, we will say it's opportunity. If it's bad, we will say it's threat. Easy? Now, let me ask you some questions. Highly motivated staff. Please write. What do you think it is? Highly motivated staff. Where will it go? Quick. Everybody participates. Highly motivated staff. Is it strength? Is it weakness? Is it opportunity? Is it threat? Very good, Siri. Siri said it's strength. Yes, absolutely. How come? Highly motivated staff, it's a good thing, and it's internal. Staff means my employees. Okay, another example. Outdated accounting software. Outdated accounting software. What do you think it's outdated accounting software? Yes, it's a weakness because it's our accounting software and it's bloody outdated. Okay. Growing demand for online business. High demand for online sales. High demand for online sales or online business. It's good and it is outside the company, right? It's an opportunity. And fierce competition. Fierce competition. It's bad and it's outside the company, so it's threat. Do you guys understand how to handle this? I'm not getting a lot of participation. Admin, can you check whether the question box is working fine? All right. So now the next question is, all organizations, they carry out or they conduct a SWOT analysis pretty much regularly, once a year, twice a year. Whenever we are making strategies, we first do a SWOT analysis. So the question is, why do we do a SWOT analysis? Why do we do a SWOT? Why do we need to know our strengths? Why do we need to know our weaknesses? And why the hell do we need to know our opportunities and threats? Why? What do we do with this analysis? Very simple. Through this analysis, it helps us to make strategies for future. If I know my strengths and if I know my weaknesses and my opportunities and threats, I can plan, I can focus, I can make some strategies. So whenever we need to make strategies, SWOT is very, very important. And how we make strategies, there is a model which is called TOES matrix. Okay. So the TOES matrix basically uses a SWOT analysis. And through TOES, we come up with strategies. I repeat, a TOES model or TOES matrix, it uses the SWOT analysis. It takes input. So whatever we highlighted, our strengths, our weakness, opportunities, and threats, it is used in a TOES matrix, and using our SWOT, we will come up with strategies. Okay, so do you understand? SWOT and TOES, they go hand in hand. SWOT and TOES, they go hand in hand. Which one we do first? First we do a SWOT, and then after doing SWOT we do TOES. SWOT highlights or identifies our strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat, and TOES it then uses the SWOT to come up with strategies. Okay, so if you look at TOES matrix, this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. Strength on x followed by weakness on x, opportunities on x, and threat on x. Oh, sorry, opportunities on y and threat on y. Okay, so this first box, it says SO. S from x-axis goes here and opportunities from here, so it becomes SO. SO means use your strength to avail opportunities. So I've got some strengths and there are certain opportunities in the market. So for example, if I'm a good looking guy and there are some beautiful girls in my college, so there is one strength and there's an opportunity. So doesn't it make sense that because I'm good looking, I'll try to go for having some girlfriends? So I'm using my strength to avail opportunities. I'm sorry for this kind of example, so please don't complain to ACCA, but it will help you remember. Okay, these WO, remove your weakness to avail opportunity. So obviously if I've got some weaknesses, I need to fix it, and once I fix it, then I will go for strength. So for example, I'm not good looking, but there are so many girls in the college. I'm very fat and ugly. So first I will go to gym and I will jog, I will eat, and I will become smart and trim, and then I will go with the girls. Okay, remove your weakness to avail opportunities. ST, use your strengths to avoid or counter threats. And WT, remove your weakness and avoid threats. So this is the theoretical side, and we will just do a question on this so I can demonstrate to you how it's done. Right, so let's take a break, and after the break We would be doing P3 June 2004 called Eland and Re-Ink, question number 1A and question number 1C. Okay, so it is like 8:50 here Dubai time. Please note your local time, and I would say 9:05. I give you 15-minute break, and I will see you guys at 9:05 p.m. sharp Dubai time. So just add 15 minutes from now on, and I will exactly start at 9:05. See you shortly. Over and out. Right, welcome back. So today, being the first class, we discussed a lot of things, right? I wanted to give you a background, the approach, the referencing, all those things. And now let's start with a proper question covering SWOT and TOES matrix. We're gonna do paper P3, June 2014, question number 1A and C. So some of you might not be able to find this question on the ACCA's website. So if you join my WhatsApp group, I have a Google Drive in which all the past papers of ACCA are there. Okay, so you can easily access any of the old papers from that Google Drive. Right, so let's go to June 2014. So this is paper P3, June 2014. We'll straight away. The technique is first, I would like to read the requirements so that I exactly know what to look for. Required. Write a report. Okay, let's start. You have been asked to write the standard assessment report of the strategic position of re-inc required by V Ventures. Write a report for V Ventures, which A, undertakes a SWOT analysis of re-inc, 20 marks, and B, in light of your analysis above, recommend possible strategic options for each quadrant of a TOES matrix of re-inc, 12 marks, and there's some professional marks. I would like to ignore professional marks because in SBL there's a completely new format and new methodology of professional marks. So we need to do SWOT, 20 marks, followed by TOES, 12 marks. So now when we know the requirements, now I can read the case study and keep my eyes open for any kind of strength, any kind of weakness, opportunities, and threats. Okay, just give me 1 second, please. I just warm up my throat. Right. So because we are struggling with time, this particular question requires 1.5 hours, and we don't have the luxury of that much time. So what I have done is I have highlighted few sentences, and what I want you to do is read these highlighted sentences and then tell me whether in your opinion this is a strength or this is a weakness or opportunity or threat. Okay, so let's apply your knowledge and I will do the marking accordingly. All right, so first paragraph, it talks about the country. Just a second. It talks about Eland, the country. So immediately in my mind, I would think that any points under this heading would be strengths or weakness, or will it be opportunities and threats? You need to have a certain kind of smartness, okay, for SBL, smart work. You remember CFOs? So my dear CFOs, Let's read the first sentence. It says the economic performance of the country has declined for last 7 years, and there are large areas of unemployment and poverty. Strength, weakness, opportunity or threat? Please type in the question box. I'm waiting, guys. Threat, very good, Siri. Very nice. So this one is clearly, so now I'm referencing. So see, I highlighted something and I am now saying it's a threat. I just write T, or I can write 1A. 1A means question number 1A, which is SWOT. But if I write T for threat, it will be more specific. Okay. Okay. Second highlighted sentence. The people of Eland are enthusiastic about the principles of reuse and recycling. There has been a notable rise in the number of green consumers. It sounds pretty good to me. Notable rise, enthusiastic. I think it can fit into opportunity. It's an external thing. It talks about the people, and it's a good thing. There is a significant computer printer market in Eland. That's good. You know, it's a significant market is always good for any business opportunity. So I'm just reading the yellow ones and marking myself, but you guys also apply your own logic, and wherever you think that you are not able to understand, please immediately comment and I will help you out. Yeah. Next thing. So right now we got one threat, two opportunities. This sentence. It is relatively easier. This one. It is relatively easy to enter the printer consumable market. And so companies tend to compete on price. Okay. Think about it. It is easy to enter the market. And so there is like price competition. Is it good or bad? Is it an opportunity or a threat? So now it depends from whose angle you are looking at it. So if you are an outsider and you want to enter this industry, then it's good for you. Then it's an opportunity for you. But if you are an existing company, then you would not want new companies to enter easily, because then it will increase competition, and here it says price competition. So Re-Ink is an existing company. Remember, we are doing the SWOT for a company called Re-Ink. So Re-Ink is an existing company. So this is not good news. There are no barriers to entry. You understand? This is a threat. Second line. There is little brand loyalty amongst consumers. It's a bad thing. It's not internal, it's a customer problem, and it's not good. There is little brand loyalty, so that's not good, because whatever I do, my customers will not be loyal. Next line. Key technical elements of Re-Ink's innovative processes for refilling cartridges have been patented. But in Eland, such patents only last for 8 years. The current patent has further 6 years to run. That's actually good. So we have kind of patented our process. So those of you who doesn't know patent, so whenever you come up with a new product, whenever you come up with something innovative, you can have it patented by the law. And patented means that no other supplier can produce the same or similar kind of product. So it kinds of gives you some protection because others can't copy your product. Okay, so patent is always good. It reduces the competition. It gives you protection. So this is a strength because the company, they took the patent. It was their decision to immediately go for patents, patent their innovative process. It's good. Next, although the company now pays rent for its factory and offices, the annual rent is relatively low. Good. It's a strength because the location, it's talking about our location, our office, and we chose the location, right? So we chose a location where the rents are relatively low. Good decision. Re-Ink's location is also close to an attractive area of countryside. Again, location good. It would help provide a good standard of living and relatively cheap property, and so he could attract good staff for modest salaries. He has been able to attract an expert team who have helped him develop a unique approach. All this is good stuff. So I'll just say, okay, this all talks about my location, cheap rent, low costs. Any questions so far? Let me just check the comment box. Okay. No questions. Re-Ink is an attractive company to work for, and the team of technologists are enthusiastic about working with such an acknowledged industry expert where technical innovation is recognized and rewarded. Both his staff and competitors acknowledge Dexter's technical expertise. So Dexter is the owner and the CEO, right, of Re-Ink. But his commercial expertise is less well regarded. So a lot of technical expertise, which is a strength. However, lack of commercial expertise, it's a weakness. Re-Ink has needed significant bank loans and substantial overdraft. Although the company has made small profit for the last 3 years, interest payments have meant that it has recorded a loss every year. That's not good. They are making losses every year because of high gearing. That's a weakness. I hope you guys are following. You guys are understanding how. So do you see how I'm referencing? Referencing is simply writing something against the paragraph so that when later on when you are trying to draft your answer, you exactly know, you can search and copy paste. Okay, it speeds up your drafting. Dexter recently recruited a sales director to attempt to increase revenue through improved sales and marketing, and a human resource director to review and improve staffing. Okay, so he hired a new sales director and a new HR director. Although both of these recently appointed directors had the commercial expertise which Dexter lacked, neither has been a success. So they were kind of incompetent people. It was expected that they would bring commercial expertise, but they were not successful. Is that good or bad? It's bad. It's a weakness. Unsuccessful management team. Despite the appointment of the new sales director, Re-Inc is still not recognized by the majority of the consumers. No significant marketing is undertaken. So no significant marketing is undertaken. So clearly it's a weakness, right? Re-Inc continues to struggle financially. Oops, that's not good. And its bank, Firmshore, in response to its own financial difficulties, has recently reduced Re-Inc's overdraft facility, creating a cash flow crisis which threatens the company's very existence. Oh my God. At present, it does not have enough cash to meet next month's payroll payments. Oh my God, this company is about to get bankrupt, going concern, cash flow crisis. The employees, they believe that the company may soon go into administration, which is wind up. And so many are actively looking for other jobs in the industry or this area. So again, my employees are demotivated and they're actively looking for a job. So that's a weakness which I need to fix. V Ventures. So this was all about Re-Inc, and now this talks about V Ventures. This is the person for whom we are writing the report for. This is the person who has asked us to analyze the SWOT of Re-Inc. So who is V Venture? V Ventures are venture capitalists who inject money and management expertise into struggling companies. What do they inject? Money, finance, and expertise into struggling companies. Am I a struggling company? Yes, I am. Do I need money? Yes, I do. Do I need commercial expertise? Yes, I do. In exchange for certain degree of control, ownership, and dividend. So venture capitalist is kind of good news for me, but they're external factors, right? They're not internal. So I would say it's opportunity. Just a minute, guys. So now I'm done with my referencing. So it's such beautiful site. If I reduce this, you can see that from the entire case study, I have been able to identify few threats, few opportunities, few strengths, few weaknesses. They are all scattered across the place, but I have now done my referencing. Now it becomes very simple. So if I read the requirement again, because always I will read the requirement before I start drafting. It says write a report which undertakes a SWOT analysis of Re-Inc. So I will not draw the report now because I will focus on the format later. So how will you draft your answer? You will just say following is the SWOT analysis of Re-Inc. Okay, this is how you will open the sentence, open your answer. You will say following is the SWOT analysis of Re-Inc, and then you will give a heading strength, and under strength you will just go through your markings and you will look for strengths. Here you go. So this one, patents, huh? So patent is a strength. Okay, so I will one strength. Another strength is low costs, modest salaries, attractive company. Okay, another strength. What is it? Technical expertise. What else? That's it. Yeah, 3 strengths. Very good. Weakness. Weakness. Ah, this one. Lack of commercial expertise. Yeah. Continuous losses and high gearing. Yeah, this one. Inefficient sales and HR director. This one. No significant marketing. This one. Cash flow crisis, weak financial position, about to be shut down. This one. Employees are actively looking for a job, so there are like so many weaknesses. So if you have highlighted and done your referencing, you can easily copy paste with slight tweak in the language, and tuck your point starts getting, you know, compiled, and very easy. It makes your life easy, right? Opportunity. This one. There's a notable rise in green consumers. People are enthusiastic about, you know, recycling. There's a significant printer market. There are venture capitalists who help struggling companies. Threats: economic crisis, high unemployment. That's a bad thing. No barrier to entry. Anybody can enter. No brand loyalty and price competition. Threats. Do you understand that if you do your highlighting and do your proper referencing, it will save sufficient time when you are drafting, and your answer will automatically be linked with the case. It will be presented in a structured manner, linked with the case. You'll be able to finish on time. What more you want, right? So there's no particular format. You just start by saying following is the analysis of SWOT of re-ink. Give a heading strength, give like 2-3 paragraphs, 1 paragraph for each point. Weakness, 5-6 paragraphs, 1 paragraph for each weakness. Opportunities, 2-3 paragraphs, 1 paragraph for each opportunity. Threats, 2-3 paragraphs, 1 paragraph for each threat. So if I'm the examiner, I will count the number of paragraphs, because for me 1 paragraph equals 1 point. So I count the number of paragraphs and I will give you marks accordingly. So please do not try to squeeze multiple points under 1 paragraph. Expand your answer. Give short multiple paragraphs. This is how the board likes to review. Each point should be separate so that they can see, they can read all the points quickly. Okay. So now CFOs. So we've done the SWOT analysis, and I have kind of, so now the next requirement is, we've done A, 20 marks. So I believe that it is a high scoring requirement. You can score good marks because all you need to do is identify the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. No need to mention impact and this and that. Just identify the SWOT analysis. Okay. Now part C. In the light of the analysis above, recommend possible strategic options for each quadrant of TOWS matrix. So do you remember the way it works is, first you do a SWOT, then that SWOT gets fed into TOWS, and from TOWS you go get your strategies. So we've done SWOT. Now we need to do TOWS to come up with strategies. So just for yours, to make your life easy, I have summarized the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. Okay, on one sheet. So this is a tabular presentation. You don't need to follow that in your exam, but just to show everything on one slide, I have summarized to just facilitate our discussion on TOES. So if you look at strength, is the same thing: patented processes, low costs, acknowledged technical expertise. Weakness is lack of commercial expertise, weak financial position, which is like losses and loans and cash flow crisis. Employees are demotivated, no marketing. Opportunity is significant market, people are enthusiastic, notable rise in green consumer, venture capitalists willing to inject money in struggling companies. Threat is economic performance is going down. It's relatively easy to enter printer market, high price competition. I've just copy pasted the key words from the case. Okay, so now you imagine, now we're going to start those. Now you imagine that you are a director. Okay, think that I am the CFO and I am presenting this slide to you. You guys are directors. You guys are more senior than me, more experienced than me, and you are now looking at the SWOT analysis of re-ink. So the first quadrant of SWOT is SO, right? Which means use your strengths to avail opportunities, correct? You kind of hook up, you kind of marry your strengths with your opportunities. So please go through the list of strengths, then go through the list of opportunities and try to see whether you can link something with something and come up with some idea. Come up with a proposal. Look at the strength. Which strength can we use to avail which opportunity? 30 seconds. Remember, you are not students. You are the director, and it is your job to think out of the box and come up with a strategy. So look at your strengths, look at your opportunities, and try to link them. I mean, I can come up with 2-3 ideas actually. So can I use my patented processes? Is there any opportunity? Yeah, I can say that, you know, significant computer market, there are people enthusiastic about recycling. On the other hand, we've got like patented processes. Let's link the two. Let's try and grab this opportunity by using patented processes before the patent expires. Another option could be I'm a technical expertise for innovation. I'm acknowledged, I'm the best. And then there is a notable rise in green consumers. Can I somehow link these two? For example, I can say that let's innovate something unique, something different in order to capture or attract green consumers. Nice, no? So this is no rocket science. As long as you think that it is your company and you own the business and you want to increase revenue, you automatically will start thinking and come up with ideas in order to maximize your revenues and profits. So I like this one. I would say, you know, I would say acknowledge technical expertise. So I would say the way I would draft is on one hand, I will mention that re-ink, one of the strong strengths of re-ink is that it is an acknowledged technical expert and On the other hand, there is a notable rise in green consumers. Re-Inc can innovate and come up with unique products in order to capture the green consumers. Khalas, as simple as that. Just basic business sense, business acumen is required. Now, the next one is WO. Remove your weakness to grab opportunity. So have a look at the list of weakness. So these are my weaknesses. Have a look at the opportunities and try to link someone with someone. 30 seconds. Open up your mind. Your directors, come on. Right. So for example, one of the weaknesses, no marketing or low brand recognition. If I fix this, so people are enthusiastic, or you can say there's a significant computer market. So I need to fix my marketing. So if I improve my marketing, if I create some kind of branding, I would be able to tap into the significant computer printer market, or I would be able to tap into the growing demand. People are enthusiastic about recycling. So the only thing I need to do improve my marketing in order to increase my revenues and market share. As simple. If you don't like this, then what about this is a weakness. I'm lacking expertise. This is a weakness. I'm struggling financially. And this is an opportunity. There are venture capitalists out there who are willing to inject money and management expertise into struggling companies. So let's try and fix our weaknesses by shaking hands with a venture capitalist. Nice, no? Very good, very good. It's as logical, as simple as that. You just think it's a boardroom paper. Now, ST, the third one is use your strength to protect against threat. Okay, so what do? We try to marry this with this. We've got certain strengths, when there's certain threats. Think of some simple yet logical idea. Think about low cost. That's my strength. Low cost. On one hand, I have very low cost because my rents are lower, my salaries are lower than other competitors. So my cost base is low. So how can that help me? So I low costs, I can get it hooked up with high price competition. Because in a price competition, you need to keep your prices as low as possible. If you want to compete in a high price competition environment, you need to lower your prices. And can I lower my prices? as compared to other competitors? Yes, I can, because my cost base is lower than other competitors in the market because of my location. Another option, there is no barrier to entry. Anybody can enter, right? Which means there's high competition. But then can the patent help me? So I can say that since we have patents, we should focus to get more patents so that whenever new entrants are entering the market, we will not be able to sell similar products, and hence our market share or revenue will be protected. And what about WT? We just need one for each quadrant, right? As per the question. Remove your weakness. How about marketing? I have this weakness of no marketing, and there's a threat of low brand recognition, right? It's a threat, it's a weakness. So if I do some nice marketing, I come up with some innovative ideas, some points, loyalty program, this and that, and try to create marketing in such a manner that I get hold of, loyal customers. I create my brand so that, customers, they become a little bit more brand conscious for us. So all you need to do is try and link one from here and one from there and come up with a small paragraph. So how many strategies we came up with? At least 4. So based on the SWOT, one strategy was SO, one strategy was from WO, one strategy was from ST, and one from WT. Very nice. Do you have any questions? Let me check. Do you have any questions? Please ask yes. Please say yes or no. Very good. So here we did a TOES matrix using SWOT. So now in one of the other questions, in this question, the examiner said, and then it's also said use TOES, right? This was both of these models, SWOT and TOES, were mentioned specifically in the question. But sometimes the examiner doesn't use the word TOES. Okay. Whenever the question asks you for a SWOT, and then it also asks you to suggest or propose some strategic options. When you see this word, suggest options or strategic options or strategies, and before that you did a SWOT, so automatically by default you must assume that you are expected to use TOES. So this TOES and SWOT, they go hand in hand, they are Mr. Mrs. So if you do a SWOT in any question and the requirement then says come up with suggest strategic options, then by default you must know that you need to apply TOES, because TOES is an extension of SWOT. You first do SWOT and then you use TOES to come up with strategic options. So this is how you will decide, or this will give you a hint of what models to use. Right, so here we end today's thing, and I think it's perfect timing. In this, no, how much time is left with us? Very good. So we've got like, can anybody confirm that we've got like 45 minutes left? Please, can anybody confirm that we've got like 45 minutes left? Because I'm a little bit confused with the time zone differences. Ah, you see, oh, thank you so much. Now, you know, this thing was hanged. It was freeze. Now suddenly I get all these things. So please let me go through some previous comments as well. This was not working actually. So bad. Let me just quickly go through some quick comments. I'm just reading, huh? Okay, so Max is asking, you mentioned earlier that we should not focus on models. Can you explain this again, please? Sure, Max. You know, there are so many models, but in SBL, it is not necessary to use any model. So we would try and not use models unnecessarily. Okay, the word is unnecessarily. I just want you guys to focus on very few basic models which are mentioned in my list, and that's it. People talk about Tucker's decision making model and 4 M's and 7 E's and 50 W's. Forget about it. The board, the directors do not know these models. They are not smart students like you. Okay, so we will just use some basic models like PESTEL, SWOT, SFA, that too, just to frame our answer. Adnan is saying, you mean we have to do 3 to 5 questions daily? Where did I say that? You need to do 3 to 5 SBL questions in total. That's it. Towards the end, when you have studied everything, you have done your webinars, then you can. Okay, Prabha asking, you have mentioned some important models. Is that necessary to define all the components of the model like PESTEL? Or is it necessary to comment on all the components? Sorry guys, my throat is, you know, towards the end. So Prabha asked that, do we need to comment on all the components of example PESTEL? That's a tricky question. I think you can skip, okay, if in case there is no information provided for any particular component, then you've got two options. Either you can altogether skip that component because no information was given in the case. Alternatively, you can just write a couple of lines and give a very high level comment. based on your judgment. Okay, but the main thing is, do not get stuck, do not waste your time. If you are not able to find something, just move on. And just in continuation of this question, should we define pestle? Like if I'm doing political, so do I need to first define what is political, or do I need to first define why pestle model is used to analyze macro environment, and we will use pestle model as follows? Do we need these definitions? Yes or no? No, there is no room for definition. Okay, do you think you need to define stuff for the board? The board is expected to know all these things, right? Okay, what else? I'm just quickly browsing through the comments before I move to the next portion. All right. So we've achieved our target for today. And if you don't mind, can I, take a head start and cover some basic things from tomorrow's slide, so that we will, then spend some more time. Okay. Since you guys don't have a lot of questions, then I would like to just start tomorrow's slide with the exam techniques. I can discuss the exam techniques tonight so that we can do some more stuff tomorrow. Right, so give me a second. I will just open up tomorrow's slide. Just bear with me. All right, so I'm just, fast forwarding into tomorrow's presentation because we've got like 40 minutes now. And very, very important. If you recall the examiner's comments, and I will show you the examiner comments here. Top 3 mistakes. Number 1 mistake was answers not linked with exhibits. So we just understood the technique and we did a question where I showed you how you can do referencing and how then you can consolidate your answer so that it is linked with the exhibits. The second issue Mr. Examiner has is insufficient number of points. So let's look at insufficient number of points. So I will talk about number of points and the length of the answer. Okay. So do you think there is any relation between number of points and the length of the answer? Absolutely yes. The more number of points you write, the more lengthy will your answer get, right? So you need to balance the number of points versus the total length of the answer. So there are basically just excuse my neck. There are two types of marks for each question. And in SBL, there are two types of marks. One is called technical marks and the other one is called professional marks. Okay. And then if you add these two, it's called total marks. So total marks is basically technical plus professional. Okay. So for example, in if you know SBL paper, each question it carries a technical mark and it also carries um, professional marks. So I can just show it to you in 1 second. Oh my God, I closed that paper. Okay, let me reopen it. Okay, so it's the same question which we looked earlier. So look at question number 2A. So you will see that there is a technical mark. It says analyze company strategic position, 8 marks. That's called technical marks. And then right below this, they say the professional skills marks are available for demonstrating analysis skills, 2 marks. So how much total marks? 10 marks. Okay. If we similarly look at 1B, there's a 12 marks of technical marks and 2 marks professional, total 14 marks. Here 12 marks technical, 4 marks professional, total 16 marks. Yeah, 6 plus 2, 10 plus 2. So in almost all the questions, you will get technical marks and professional marks. So now my formula comes. Okay. How many number of points? How do you decide how many number of points you are expected to give? You divide total marks by 2. Very important words. You divide total marks by 2. Total marks by 2. A lot of students, they make a mistake here. Instead of total marks, they use technical marks. Okay, please don't. There are many tutors who suggest that we should use technical marks to decide what to do. However, I do tend to differ from them a little bit respectfully. And there are some good reasons why I differ. So let's not complicate things. Just memorize that how you decide number of points. You pick up the total marks, which is basically technical marks plus professional marks, and you divide by 2. So you will arrive at the number of points you are expected to write. Got it? So let's take an example. So if total marks is 8, then how many number of points? Come on, guys. If total marks is 8, then how many number of points? I'm waiting. If total marks is 8, then how many number of points? Very simple. You divide total marks, divide by 2. So you need to give 4 points for 8 marks. Okay. Ideally, you should give 4 points. This is not the minimum. This is not the maximum. It's the ideal situation. If you are running short of points, if you don't know, if you're not able to identify 4 points, then at least you must give 3 points. And if there are a lot of points, then maximum you should mention is 5 points. You should not deviate a lot from this quantity. Plus minus one point. Similarly, now if the total marks is 15, how many number of points? Divide by 2. This gives me 7.5, but obviously 7.5 doesn't work. So either you give 7 points or you give 8 points. So you just say 7 to 8 points. And how do I count 7 to 8 points? I will simply count the number of paragraphs. If I see 3 paragraphs, I would know that you are not able to find sufficient points. So if you want to impress the examiner, then 1 point is 1 paragraph. So if you need to give 7 to 8 points, then you need to mention 8 paragraphs other than the format and all those extra stuff. Easy. But make sure that you always use total marks to divide by 2. Now there is a small exception. So the total marks divide by 2 is the usual thing, but there is an exception. Sometimes there is a question which says identify weakness and give recommendation. So they would ask you to identify a weakness, and not only identify, but then they also want you to suggest recommendation. So they're asking 2 things: identify weakness and then give a recommendation. Similarly, they can also ask something like this for risks: identify the main risks and give recommendation. So whenever they ask you for a recommendation, that means that's an extra work, right? That's a little bit extra. So in this case, you pick up total marks, and you divide by 3. So for example, so this 15 marks question, if it was a normal question, how many points we gave? 7 to 8 points, right? But if this kind of question comes for 15 marks, in which you are supposed to identify the weakness and give recommendation, then you divide 15 by 3, which automatically will reduce your number of points. It becomes 5 points. So you will give 5 weakness and along with 5 recommendations. Okay. Do you understand? Because a lot of students, they get confused in this one. Do you understand? Do you have any questions? I don't know, somehow this chat is hang or freeze and I'm not getting your comments. Are you guys commenting? Okay. Think about it. If it's a normal question, total marks divide by 2. Total marks, not technical marks. Okay, total marks divide by 2. So let's take this example. Okay. First one, This is an actual SBL paper. Analyze the environment in which smartware operates and consider how its impact on its business. This is a, there is no professional marks for this. Okay, there's nothing mentioned here. This professional mark is for part B, nothing for part A. So for this one, how many points? I just divide by 2. I need to come up with 5 points. Now part B, just a minute. Part B, assess major risks and suggest appropriate mitigation actions. Aha, they want us to identify risks and suggest recommendations. 10 marks is technical, plus 4 marks is professional, so total 14 marks. And then you divide by 3. So 5 is 15. So approximately 5, I need to mention 5 risks. And then when I mention a risk, I need to give the recommendation against each of the risks. 5 risks in total, risk plus recommendation. Okay, you understand? And then 2A, professional marks, sorry, technical marks 8, and then 2, 10 marks. So I need to give 5 points. It's a straightforward. So this is how it works. Okay, very simple. Just keep your eyes open for weakness and recommendation type questions, or risks and recommendation type questions. Like, for example, look at this one. It says draft a memo which evaluates the effectiveness of internal control systems, particularly the procurement side, and recommend control improvements. So you need to evaluate the internal control system and recommend improvements. So this is 12 plus 4, 16 marks total. Divide by 3, because it's we need to identify the weakness and then recommend control. 3, so it means how much? Where did it go? Yeah, divide by 3 would give me 5. 3s are 15. Yeah, I think 5 weakness along with their respective recommendation. Okay, right. So moving on, the length of your answer, and I'm talking about maximum side. Okay, because as we discussed that there is a relation between the number of points and the length, so you need to keep both in mind. You need to give the right number of points, and your answer should not be very lengthy, because you will overrun the time, and your answer should not be very short, otherwise you will miss some easy marks. So you need to maintain the right balance between the number of points and the length of your answer. Now the length of the answer, very interestingly, is applicable for manual paper students. Why? Because in the CBE paper, it's a typing document, and you are copy pasting stuff, you're making tables, and then you're typing stuff. So there it's very difficult to determine the number of lines, and plus because you can copy paste a lot of stuff there, you don't need to write anything, and it saves a lot of time. So the number of lines is more applicable for students who are giving manual paper, because whatever they are writing, it is taking time. So what's the formula here? Again, the same thing. Total marks multiply by 3 will give you the number of lines. So for example, if it is a 15 marks question, how many lines? Multiply by 3 should give you 45 lines. Try to restrict your answer within 45 lines, because if you go exceed 45 lines, then your time management will cause you problem. Okay. However, there is a small catch. When you say 45 lines, don't count format portion or headings and blank lines. Okay, 45 lines should be the actual meat, the actual points, the actual meat, the actual body of the answer. You know, if they ask you for a report and you write to, and then you leave a line and you write from, you leave a line, you write subject, leave a line, you write date, you leave a line, you give introduction, you leave a line. All these lines should not be counted because these lines are part of the format. When we say 45 lines, it should be the meat, the actual steak. Okay, so 45 lines, but excluding format, headings and blank lines. So can I say a proper written line should be 45? So if I add formats, if I add blank lines, if I add some headings, so this might convert into 55 to 60 lines approximately. Okay, so but you must have an idea of what to do, how much should be the size of the answer. The moment you feel that your answer is exceeding, you need to stop. Okay, and we will discuss about this in the last class. Right, so do I have any questions on the second technique, which is the number of points and the number of lines? I'm not getting any comments. I'm worried. If you either you guys are not answering, or there's some technical problem and I'm not getting your messages. Okay, so I would assume that you guys are okay and you don't have any questions. Even if you have any questions, you can ask me tomorrow, or once you are added to the WhatsApp group, then you can ask me questions. Now this is another model which I planned to do yesterday, but it will take some time. We will not be able to finish it. And then corporate parenting. So I think let's break the class now. It is like 15 past 10 here, which is 15 past 11 in Pakistan. Yeah, there's a problem in chat box. Yeah, I agree. Somebody messaged me. There's a problem in chat box. Admin, Mr. Admin, Mr. Admin, can you please check the question box? Students are not able to. If you guys can hold on, I will just call up this guy, because I'm sure you have questions and something is wrong somewhere. Let me call him. Ishal to Abdullah. Can you please check the question box because it is stuck? I'm not getting any questions, and I'm getting messages from students that they are asking questions, but it's not getting through to me. Can you see the questions in your screen, Abdullah?
Yes, sir.
What is the last question? Like, what is the last comment in front of you? From which student? No, you see, my last comment is Mr. Botsalo at 21:52 hours.
Okay, sir. Second, see this ICD
Huh?
right next to ACCA.
Right next to Oscar, what do we do? RECD is 21:52. क्या करें? हाँ, क्लिक कर दिया मैंने. हाँ, ये मेरा टाइम है ना. 21:52 is Dubai time, but the thing is that the last question is from Botsalo. I'm sending you a screenshot. So, all right, guys, I don't think we will be able to fix this one. And I am really sorry. And more than sorry, I am actually pissed off that, you guys are not able to ask questions. So, please hold your questions. I don't want to miss your questions. So I will, allocate some 10-15 minutes tomorrow to cover up all the questions which we have missed today. Okay, so now we need to finish our session today because there is no Q&A, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I will add you guys to my WhatsApp group in a little bit tonight, and I will see you guys tomorrow same time. Till then, you guys take care and good night.